No, absolutely not. Get her out of my cabin. I didn't pay first-class money on a commercial airline to sit next to that. The words slice through the first-class cabin before Zaria Wade even reaches her row, sharp, confident, and loud enough to turn every head. Zaria Wade is 16, black, deep brown skin, slim build, hair pulled into a neat low bun. She wears a simple, clean travel outfit and carries a compact rolling carry-on, her phone in the other hand with her boarding pass already open. She stops mid-aisle. The wheels click once, then go silent. She checks the screen again. 2A, her name. This cabin. Correct. Across the aisle, Celeste Ashford reclines in 1D with the ease of ownership. 45, white, pale skin, billionaire philanthropist and corporate donor. Diamond studs catching the light, designer cream coat draped perfectly, posture relaxed and predatory. Don't look confused, Celeste says. People pay for quiet up here. They don't pay for surprises. Phones tilt, eyes linger. A junior flight attendant, Elise Park, 26, Asian American, hair neatly pinned, pauses near the galley like she can feel the storm coming. Zaria keeps her voice even. Ma'am, I'm in 2A. She lifts her phone, the digital pass bright and unmistakable. Celeste doesn't read it. She laughs softly. A screen. How modern. Then she lets the cabin hear her smile. Isn't it funny how it's always a screen when someone needs to prove they belong? They can scan it, Zaria says. No, Celeste answers. Immediate and final. I want real verification. Open your bag. Pull out your ID. Let's end this. Zaria's hand twitches toward the zipper, then stops. Her mother's earlier text sits at the top of her notifications. Keep your documents zipped. If anyone pressures you, call me. I'm not comfortable opening my belongings in public, Zaria says. Celeste's eyebrows lift, delighted. Of course you're not. That's the trick. Refuse, act wounded, and hope everyone feels too guilty to question you. I'm offering to show my pass, Zaria says. Celeste's smile tightens. Sweetheart, the pass isn't the point. Her gaze slides to the carry-on. What's in there is, I can show my ID without dumping my bag in front of strangers. Nobody said dumping, Celeste replies, sweet as poison. We said verifying. Airline policy exists for a reason. Policy protects paying passengers from chaos. A passenger mutters, if it's her seat, why not just show it and move on? Celeste nods as if he's her witness. Exactly. If you have nothing to hide, you won't mind a quick check. Zaria's voice turns quieter, firmer. I have passenger rights. I'm a minor. I don't consent to anyone searching my belongings. Celeste smiles wider. Passenger rights, she repeats, savoring it. Adorable. You think a phrase is armor. She lifts her phone. The red recording dot glows. I'm recording for accuracy. So nobody can claim I targeted anyone. I'm simply asking for verification. Civil. Please don't record me, Zaria says. If you're innocent, you should want it recorded. Zaria's thumb hovers near the call button. Celeste notices instantly. Oh no, don't call someone to perform outrage. Handle your mistake. It's not my mistake, Zaria says. Celeste leans back, satisfied. In the adult world, if you make premium customers uncomfortable, the system writes it down. She calls out, crisp, purser, now. Marin Holt arrives fast, 39, white, blonde hair in a tight bun, uniform immaculate, expression trained to stay calm. She holds a device like a shield. Good afternoon. What seems to be the issue? Celeste's face becomes concerned reason. A simple verification. This passenger is seated in 2A. I believe it's an assignment error, and I'd like it corrected before it becomes a disturbance. I expect airline policy to be enforced. Marin glances at her screen, then at Zaria. 2A is assigned to Zaria Wade. Celeste pivots smoothly. Then verify her identity properly. If this turns out to be fraud, it won't be my reputation on the line. It'll be yours. Marin's mouth tightens. Miss Wade, Could you present government ID? Yes, Zaria answers, but I'm not opening my bag for a public display. Celeste exhales, pleased. There, refusing again. That's noncompliance. That's the beginning of an incident report. Marin lowers her voice. Miss, if you open your bag yourself and retrieve your ID, we can resolve this quickly. Celeste steps half a pace closer, crowding without touching. Here's your choice, she murmurs. Admit you're in the wrong cabin and move quietly. Or resist, and I make sure your name goes into a report that follows you. Schools, programs, future travel. The cabin goes still, waiting for Zaria to break. Marin speaks firmer. Miss Wade, please, just open it enough to retrieve ID so we can depart. Zaria reaches for the zipper. Not because she's guilty, because a billionaire is turned. A seat number into a public trial using airline policy like a weapon and mocking passenger rights like a joke. And the zipper hasn't even opened yet. If you have ever been judged before you even spoke, then what happens next with Zaria will make you furious. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay with Dignity Voices to follow this story to the end. Celeste turns verification into a trap, forcing the bag open on her terms and pushing Zaria toward a voluntary admission that could stain her future. The zipper snagged for a heartbeat, then slid open with a soft rasp that felt too loud in first class. Marin Holt kept her smile professional, eyes flicking to the red dot on Celeste Ashford's phone and back to the open carry-on. Just your ID, please. We'll verify and move on. Perfect, Celeste said. Quick and clean. Zaria Wade's hands moved carefully, trying to block the cabin's view. The bag was tidy. Hoodie, paperback, charger, ordinary things that suddenly looked like exhibits. She found her wallet and produced a government ID with a tremor of relief. Marin took the card, glanced down, then up at her device. The pause was barely a second. Celeste made it a verdict. That pause, she murmured. That's why verification matters. The name matches, Marin said. Zaria exhaled. You can scan my pass too. Celeste didn't look at the screen. Names match all the time. Bookings don't. People borrow tickets. And then we're the bad guys for noticing. Elise Park hovered near the galley, tray forgotten. A passenger's phone remained angled from a few rows back, recording. Marin cleared her throat. Miss Wade, do you have a printed itinerary or confirmation email? Some fare types don't display fully on the digital pass. Zaria's thumb hovered near her phone. Her mother's message sat at the top. Keep your documents zipped. Call me if anyone pressures you. Celeste noticed the hesitation. Don't call anyone, she said, still smiling. Let's not turn this into theater. It's already theater, Zaria said. Celeste's smile thinned. Careful. That tone is how people end up on incident reports. Marin lowered her voice. Miss, we just need a confirmation code. Zaria reached into the carry-on and pulled out a plain document envelope. It looked cheap in a cabin built for status. Celeste's eyes locked on it. There we go, Celeste said softly. The real paperwork. It's private, Zaria said, holding it close. Celeste gave a small laugh. Private doesn't apply when you're under verification up here. Open it, show the code, clear your name. Zaria opened the envelope only enough to reveal a printed page and angled it toward Marin, covering most of the text. Celeste leaned anyway. What is that? Some donation program? A pity ticket? It's my ticket, Zaria said, jaw tight. Marin's eyes scanned the page, then flicked to her device again. The wording wasn't standard. It carried phrases that changed everything. Accommodation, authorization, protected seating. Marin didn't say them out loud. Celeste did, inaccurately on purpose. That's not normal, she announced. Special treatment. And special treatment is exactly how fraud happens. That's not what it is, Zaria said. Celeste's voice stayed calm. Then you won't mind full verification. Marin hesitated. Miss Wade, do you have any other document that confirms the booking? Zaria's hands shook as she reached into an inner pocket and pulled out a small zippered pouch. Celeste's eyebrows rose. Buried like a secret. It's medical, Zaria said immediately. Of course, Celeste replied, syrupy. She tilted her phone a fraction to frame Zaria smaller. Open it. No, Zaria said. That's private. Celeste's smile sharpened. Privacy isn't a shield when you're refusing verification. If you want to talk passenger rights, try mine. The right not to be manipulated in first class. Zaria looked at Marin. You have my ID. You have my pass. You have the code. Why are we still doing this? Marin's jaw tightened, stuck between policy and power. Celeste answered for her. Because she's stalling. Because she's refusing. Because she knows she doesn't belong. Then, to Marin, document non-compliance. Correct the seating. We can deal with paperwork on the ground. Correct the seating, Zaria repeated. You mean move me. Temporarily, Marin said too fast. Celeste's eyes glinted. Exactly, temporarily, until the truth is confirmed. Zaria's thumb hovered over call again. Celeste leaned in, voice velvet over steel. Call whoever you want. By the time they answer, the note will be written. And once your name is attached to refused verification, it follows. You. In 1C, Daniel Mercer's phone wasn't filming the spectacle. It was logging it. Time, seat numbers, exact phrases, a witness loop, tightening. Zaria lifted her chin. I'm not signing anything. I'm not moving. If you want me out of this seat, put it in writing. With your name on it. Celeste smiled, almost pleased. Oh, sweetheart, she said softly. I love writing. She tapped her screen, composing a message that would turn humiliation into an official accusation, one that could stain Zaria's future unless someone stopped it. Marin's device chimed with a prompt, and she angled it so only she and Zaria could see. Yet Celeste's camera hovered close enough to capture the moment. There's a standard acknowledgement, Marin said, voice carefully neutral. It isn't an admission. It just notes that verification couldn't be completed in flight and that you agreed to relocate while we resolve it on the ground. Agreed? Zaria repeated. I didn't agree to anything. Celeste stepped in smoothly, like she was helping. It's not a confession, she said, bright for the cabin. It's you cooperating. You should be grateful. Most people would be removed. Zaria stared at the screen. The wording was slick, voluntary, cooperative, declined, refused, phrases that could be twisted into a permanent label. I'm not signing, she said. Celeste's smile stayed put, but her eyes hardened. Then you're choosing escalation. Daniel's notes became faster. Acknowledgement form presented. Agreed to relocate language. Coercion. He lifted his gaze once, catching Elise's face, catching Marin's tension, then typed, crew pressured by VIP passenger. The door seal beeped. Celeste's fingers paused over send. Last chance, she murmured. Move quietly, or I make this official. The signature box on Marin Holt's device looked harmless, one small rectangle waiting for her, a fingertip. But the sentence above it was a trap wrapped in politeness. Voluntary relocation, declined verification, cooperative resolution. Words that wouldn't bruise the skin, only the future. Zaria Wade read it twice while Celeste Ashford's phone hovered too close, the red recording dot glowing like an accusation. The first-class cabin had gone quiet in the way crowds do when they want to watch but not be responsible. I'm not signing that, Zaria said. Celeste's smile stayed bright. Then you're choosing to be difficult. Difficult passengers become documented passengers. Marin kept her voice smooth. It isn't an admission. It's a standard acknowledgement so we can resolve this on the ground. It says, I agreed to relocate, Zaria replied. That's standard phrasing, Marin said. It's standard for protecting the airline, Zaria said, steadying her breath. Not for protecting me. Celeste gave a soft, contemptuous laugh. Listen to her, already arguing policy like she's counsel. It's my seat, Zaria said. My name is on 2A. Seats can be corrected, Celeste replied. Don't act like a chair is a human right. Zaria's jaw set. My rights aren't a joke. In 1C, Daniel Mercer's phone stayed low, not filming for entertainment, logging timestamps and exact phrases. Near the galley, Elise Park hovered, tense, tray forgotten. Marin tried again. Miss Wade, we're under departure timing. If we can't complete verification in flight, we de-escalate and resolve it at the gate. That means you move me, Zaria said. It means we temporarily reseat you, Marin answered. Temporarily, Celeste echoed, savoring the word. See? Reasonable. Zaria's thumb hovered over the call button on her phone. Her mother's earlier message flashed in her mind. Keep your documents zipped. If anyone pressures you, call me. Celeste noticed the movement. Instantly. Don't call anyone. Calling now makes it look like you planned a scene. I didn't plan anything, Zaria said. That tone is how people end up on incident reports, Celeste replied. Marin angled the device closer, lowering her voice. If you sign, it helps us move forward without further escalation. Escalation for who? Zaria asked. Marin didn't answer. Celeste did. For you. I'm offering you an exit that doesn't ruin your day. You're threatening my record, Zaria said. I'm reminding you how consequences work, Celeste replied. The overhead chime sounded, doors preparing to close. Time tightened around the moment. Marin swallowed. I can adjust the language. Celeste's head snapped up. No. I can change agreed to informed, Marin said. Don't soften it, Celeste replied. If she refuses verification, the record should reflect that. I didn't refuse, Zaria said. You saw my ID. You saw my pass. You refused what mattered, Celeste said, eyes sliding to the open carry-on like it was still on trial. Marin edited anyway. The sentence changed, informed of reseating plan. Zaria stared at it, then shook her head. It still says I declined, she said. Remove that. Marin's fingers hovered. If I remove it, it may look like we didn't complete the process. And whose fault is that? Zaria asked. I was verified. She just wants my seat. Celeste's smile tightened. I want order. You want me to admit I don't belong, Zaria said. Celeste's eyes flashed, then went flat. Stop making this a morality play. Marin drew a breath and made a decision. Identity verification is complete, she said. Seat assignment is correct. Miss Wade is not relocating. The cabin exhaled. Celeste went still. You're making a mistake, she said softly. This decision is final, Marin replied. Celeste's voice changed, carefully shaken, not loud. Then I want it noted that I feel unsafe. Zaria's stomach dropped. Unsafe? I asked for verification, Celeste continued, now speaking toward the cabin. She became confrontational. She refused reasonable requests. I'm not comfortable sitting near someone unpredictable. Daniel's notes tightened into a new line. False reporting in real time. Marin's jaw clenched. Ma'am, accuracy matters. Accuracy is why I'm recording, Celeste said. I didn't threaten you, Zaria said. I didn't touch you. You don't have to touch someone to make them feel threatened, Celeste replied, the label landing like glue. Unpredictable. Marin's device chimed with an internal message. She read it, expression tightening. Corporate security has been notified, she said. They will review the incident upon arrival. Celeste smiled, satisfied. Good. Legal accountability. Matters. Elise's eyes flicked to the open bag and then to Zaria's hands, shaking now despite her steady voice. She took one step closer as if to speak, then stopped, swallowing whatever apology she couldn't afford to say on duty. Across the cabin, a passenger lowered their phone, suddenly aware they'd been filming a minor. Daniel leaned toward the aisle and caught Marin's eye for a split second. An unspoken promise. The timeline is saved. Marin's expression tightened, not with anger, but with dread. She knew what "I feel unsafe" could do inside a corporate system. Trigger forms, flags, security alerts, and a narrative that turns the accused into the problem. It thrived on institutional reflex, on the airline's fear of headlines, lawsuits, and donors. Marin met Celeste's gaze. False statements have consequences. Celeste blinked slowly. Are you accusing me of lying? I'm reminding everyone that accuracy is critical, Marin said. Celeste leaned back, serene again. Then we agree. She let her next words travel. Quiet, sharp, legal. And if your airline is careless enough to let this happen in first class, if you're negligent with your own policies, then that's corporate negligence. Daniel looked up from his phone. The situation had shifted. Humiliation to safety narrative to corporate crisis. We will file a full report, Marin said. Please do, Celeste replied. Zaria sat down at last, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like the calm after a lock clicks, because once Celeste said unsafe, the story became bigger than a seat. Celeste's phone kept recording, and Daniel saved his notes because he could feel the next stage coming. A billionaire counterattack through corporate channels, and the truth would need witnesses to survive. If you have ever watched someone with power turn a lie into an official record, then what happens next with Zaria will make you furious. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay with Dignity Voices to follow what happens when witnesses refuse to let the truth be rewritten. Celeste escalates mid-flight. She pulls executive strings, demands an incident file, and the quiet witness in 1C starts a chain reaction that could expose the airline and her empire far beyond this cabin. The plane climbed into a clean blue afternoon, and the first-class cabin tried to reset itself like nothing had happened. Seatbelts clicked, menus opened. A flight attendant poured water with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Zaria Wade sat rigid in 2A, her carry-on zipped shut again, but she could still feel the burn of being forced to open it. Across the aisle, Celeste Ashford sat perfectly composed, phone face down, as if she hadn't just tried to write a teenager into a permanent problem. Her calm was not peace. It was strategy. Marin Holt's device chimed. Marin glanced down, then toward the forward. Galley, then back at Zaria. Elise Park, hovering near the aisle, saw the shift and went still. What is it? Zaria asked quietly. Marin's smile appeared on instinct. Nothing you need to worry about. That was how trouble announced itself in an airline, with reassurance. Marin stepped into the galley and spoke into the interphone in clipped phrases. Zaria caught fragments. Security, arrival, statement. Then a colder word slid out. Law enforcement. Zaria's stomach tightened. Law enforcement. Over a seat. A moment later, the captain's voice floated through the speakers, calm and pleasant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your cooperation as we continue our service. The announcement sounded normal. Normal was how airlines buried abnormal things. Elise returned with water for Zaria. Her hand trembled slightly. If you need anything, tell me, she whispered, then moved away quickly. Celeste watched and murmured, just loud enough to land. See? Everyone relaxes when we follow procedure. Zaria didn't look at her. Procedure isn't what you were doing. Celeste's smile stayed in place. Your feelings are not the policy. In 1C, Daniel Mercer opened his notes app again. He wasn't filming for entertainment. He was building a timeline, timestamps, seat numbers, exact phrases, incident report, unsafe, relocate, voluntary. He added the flight number, then turned on Wi-Fi. He paid for a record that existed outside the airline's devices. He sent a short message to his company counsel. Witnessed VIP passenger attempt to coerce minor into seat relocation and signature. Recording. Threats of incident report. Purser verified seat assignment. VIP now claiming unsafe and pushing security response. I have timestamps and can provide statement. Then he hit send again to a friend in compliance. Minor targeted in first class. VIP influence. Please advise on not preservation. The witness loop began to tighten. Celeste's phone buzzed. She lifted it without urgency, thumb moving with the speed of habit. Corporate should already be alerted, she said. This airline has a duty to protect premium customers. Marin returned, smile forced. Ma'am, we are handling the matter. I don't want an apology later, Celeste replied. I want action now. I want a record. Safeguards against me? Zaria asked. Celeste didn't lower her voice. Against unpredictable behavior in a confined space. That's basic safety. Marin's jaw tightened. Miss Wade has not threatened anyone. Celeste tilted her head. You don't get to decide how I feel. If I say I feel unsafe, that becomes your company's reality. Daniel typed those words. Marin leaned closer to Celeste, voice low. Please refrain from directing crew actions. Celeste's expression turned pleasantly surprised. I'm informing. There's a difference? Marin's device chimed again. Her shoulders stiffened. Miss Wade, corporate security would like to speak with you. On the plane? Zaria asked. In front of her? In the galley, Marin said quickly. Private. No, Zaria said. I'm staying here. Celeste's smile sharpened. Private conversations are how stories get coached. I'm not being coached, Zaria said. I'm being targeted. Celeste leaned forward slightly, voice velvet over steel. You could have moved quietly. You could have signed and ended this. Instead, you made me uncomfortable. Uncomfortable people with resources seek remedies. Daniel's notes caught the phrase, resources seek remedies. Elise appeared beside Marin, whispering with wide eyes. They're asking if there was assault. Marin's face tightened. There was no assault. Celeste's voice drifted over, calm as perfume. I didn't say assault. I said I felt threatened. Your company can determine the appropriate classification. Appropriate classification. Daniel wrote it down. That phrase could turn a feeling into a file. Zaria stared across the aisle. You're trying to get me detained. Celeste's smile didn't move. I'm trying to ensure accountability. Marin lifted her chin. Ma'am, inaccurate statements can carry consequences. Celeste blinked slowly. Are you accusing me of lying? I'm reminding everyone that accuracy matters, Marin said. Celeste leaned back, serene. Accuracy is why I'm recording. Daniel leaned into the aisle just enough to be heard. Purser, I witnessed the entire interaction. If statements are being collected, I will provide one. And I request that all records be preserved. Reports, device logs, any video. Marin looked startled, then cautious. Thank you, sir. Celeste's eyes snapped to Daniel. This doesn't concern you. It concerns me. When a minor is being pressured into a false narrative, Daniel said. And when influence shapes documentation, Celeste's smile tightened. Careful. I am, Daniel replied. That's why I'm taking notes. A hush settled across first class, uncertainty replacing spectatorship. People sensed the story had changed lanes, from a seat dispute to a system test. Celeste's phone lit again. She read, and a small satisfied smile returned. Corporate wants a full incident file, she announced. They want to know why a premium customer's safety concern wasn't immediately actioned. Marin's mouth tightened. We are following protocol. Then follow it faster, Celeste said. Daniel's phone buzzed with counsel's reply. Preserve everything. Do not post. Request footage preservation. Daniel texted back. Understood. Then he messaged the passenger he'd seen filming earlier. If you have video, save it. Don't upload. The reply came. Fast. Saved. Outside the airline, the witness loop expanded. Inside the cabin, Celeste's calm became more dangerous than shouting. Marin stepped closer to Zaria, voice low enough to sound like service, but meant as a shield. "If anyone meets the aircraft, stay seated until I return," she said. "Answer only what you're asked. Don't hand over your phone. If they request your bag, ask for a supervisor." Zaria nodded once, throat tight. Are they really meeting us? Marin didn't deny it. "I'm trying to keep it from becoming a spectacle." Across the aisle, Celeste watched the exchange with a patient, satisfied look, as if a spectacle was exactly the point. Zaria looked down at her phone and pressed call. It rang. Celeste's eyes narrowed, and the red dot on her screen appeared again. Recording resurrected. Zaria kept her voice steady as the line connected. "Mom," she said softly. "It's happening." The call connected on the second. Ring, and Zaria felt her lungs finally take a full breath. "Mom, it's happening." Her mother's voice was calm, low, already moving. "Where are you?" "First class, seat 2A. She made me open my bag. She's recording me. The crew says security will meet the flight." "Are you safe?" "I'm safe. I'm just surrounded." "Listen," her mother said. "Do not sign anything. Do not hand over your phone. Keep your documents with you. If anyone asks you to move, ask for the exact policy in writing and the name of the person authorizing it." Zaria swallowed. "She's right here." "Let her hear," her mother replied. "Let them all hear." Zaria kept the phone at her ear without hiding it. Across the aisle, Celeste's gaze stayed fixed, predatory. Her own phone was lifted again, recording resumed like a reflex. "I'm glad she called," Celeste said for the front rows. "Witnesses are useful." Daniel's Notes app stayed open in 1C. VIP says, "Witnesses are useful." Continues recording minor. Marin returned from the galley with a smile that didn't belong to her face. "Miss Wade, corporate security would like to speak with you." "They can speak to my mother," Zaria said. Marin hesitated. Celeste filled the silence with sugar. "Of course. Bring in reinforcements. That always looks innocent." Zaria tapped speaker. The tiny click seemed to change the air. "This is her mother," the voice said. "Who am I speaking to?" "Marin Holt, purser." "And the passenger who initiated this?" Zaria answered. "Celeste Ashford." A brief pause, heavy, controlled. "All right. Zaria, I want you to request the form they tried to make you sign." "They won't hand it to me," Zaria whispered. "Then ask again," her mother said. Out loud. Zaria lifted her eyes. "Purser, please show the acknowledgement form again." Marin angled the device toward her. "It's standard. Read the key sentence," her mother instructed. Marin's throat tightened. "It states she was informed of a temporary reseating plan pending verification." "And does it say she declined?" the voice asked. "It notes verification could not be completed." "Could not," her mother repeated, "or would not, because your crew kept escalating after identity was verified." Celeste's smile sharpened. "Identity isn't the only issue. Premium safety is an issue." "Then cite the airline policy you're using," the voice replied instantly. "Number and section." Marin's silence answered for her. Celeste stepped in, polished and ruthless. "The policy that allows crew to prevent fraud and maintain order." "That's not a citation," the mother said. "That's a slogan." Celeste's eyes narrowed. "Who are you exactly?" "A parent," the mother replied, "and someone who understands legal accountability." Marin's device chimed again. She read, then said carefully, "Corporate security requests that Miss Wade relocate temporarily to de-escalate until arrival." Celeste exhaled as if blessed. Finally, professional. Zaria's mother didn't raise her voice. "Is corporate security aware she is a minor and that her seat assignment is tied to a protected accommodation?" Marin froze. "A protected?" Celeste's head snapped toward Zaria's bag, then back to Marin, hungry for whatever was being uncovered. Yes, the mother continued, protected, meaning your airline is obligated to honor it. Forcing her to relocate is not customer service. It's an act with consequences. Marin's face drained. Ma'am, pull up the internal booking notes, the mother said, not the customer-facing screen. Celeste's smile returned, thin. She has no right to internal notes. Passenger rights include accurate handling of her reservation, the mother replied. And your duty includes not allowing a private passenger to weaponize process against a child. Marin hesitated, then tapped through menus as if her fingers were crossing a line. Her eyes moved across a hidden field and she flinched. Read it, the mother said. Marin's voice came out tight. It indicates seating protected due to prior resolution with the airline. Prior resolution, the mother repeated, meaning a settlement. Celeste's composure cracked for the first time. That is none of your business. It became your business when you tried to override it, the mother replied. This is why legal accountability exists. Daniel typed faster. Protected seating. Prior resolution for a settlement. Corporate security requested relocation anyway. Daniel turned on the airplane Wi-Fi and sent a second message to his company's general counsel. Preserve all evidence, request the flight's incident logs, and instruct him not to post anything publicly. A reply came back in seconds. Do not upload. Keep timestamps. Get names of anyone meeting the aircraft. He copied the instruction into his notes. 2 rows back, the passenger who had been filming earlier lowered her phone and whispered that her video was saved offline and not shared. Daniel nodded once, then kept typing. Across the aisle, Celeste's fingers moved rapidly too, not texting friends but pulling levers. Zaria caught a glimpse of a thread labeled with an executive title and a directive. Flag passenger. Safety issue. Meet arrival. The seatbelt sign chimed on, but nobody moved. Even the ice in the glasses seemed louder. Marin's interphone beeped again, and she answered with a tight, trembling, understood. Celeste lifted her phone a fraction, trying to catch Marin's screen. Marin, she said softly, remember who funds the leadership initiative. Be careful what you confirm on speaker. Elise took a step forward, voice small. On Celeste's gaze snapped to her icy. Don't. Marin straightened, forced into a spine she didn't want. Ma'am, stop recording our screens and stop directing crew. Celeste smiled like a blade. Then stop embarrassing your airline. Zaria's mother's tone turned colder, still controlled. If security meets the aircraft and attempts to move or detain my child based on false statements, we will pursue civil remedies and request criminal review for false reporting and coercion. Corporate negligence will not be excused by VIP pressure. The cabin went silent in a new way, less entertained, more afraid of what they'd witnessed. Marin swallowed. I will inform the captain that relocation is not appropriate. Do that, Celeste said softly, venom hidden under manners, and watch what happens to your career. Zaria's hands shook, but she kept the phone steady. She looked at her zipped bag, then at Daniel's steady posture, then at Marin's trembling professionalism. The false story Celeste had tried to stamp into the record was cracking, yet Celeste's counterattack was sharpening into something bigger than a seat. Her mother's voice softened, just for her. Baby, you did right. Stay calm. I'm already on my way. Keep breathing. Zaria nodded. Okay. Celeste leaned back, bright smile returning for the cabin as if she loved being watched. Enjoy your flight, she said. It's going to be memorable. The descent felt like a fist tightening slowly. Cabin lights brightened, trays disappeared, and the captain's voice floated through with practiced calm. To Zaria Wade, it sounded like a countdown. She kept her carry-on under her legs and looped a strap around her ankle. Across the aisle, Celeste Ashford sat with hands folded as if she were waiting for an award. Her phone buzzed. She read, tapped, and smiled. Calculation, not relief. Marin Holt walked the aisle checking belts and paused at Zaria's row. "After we land, stay seated," Marin murmured. "Don't step into the aisle. Don't hand your phone to anyone." "Are they meeting us?" Zaria asked. Marin didn't deny it. "The captain requested any conversation happen off the aircraft and be documented properly." Celeste's voice drifted over, light as perfume. "How responsible. I love when people remember procedure when a donor is uncomfortable." Daniel Mercer, still in 1C, snapped a quick photo of the flight number placard, then returned to his notes. Timestamps, exact phrases, who said what, building a record outside airline systems. The wheels touched down with a controlled thud. No one clapped. As the plane rolled to the gate, Celeste lifted her phone again. "For everyone's awareness, I'm documenting for safety. If something happens, there's a record." Zaria stared at the red dot. "You keep saying safety like it's a spell." "It's not a spell," Celeste replied. "It's leverage." The plane docked. Seatbelts clicked off like a starting gun. Passengers reached for bags but moved carefully, avoiding eye contact, as if leaving fast could erase what they'd witnessed. Marin stepped forward and raised a hand. "Please remain seated until the crew gives instructions." The forward door opened with a hiss. Cold jet bridge air slid into the cabin. 2 airport security officers appeared at the threshold, and behind them, an airline duty manager with a tablet. One officer scanned faces like he was hunting danger. The manager scanned for status. Celeste lifted her chin, grateful on cue. "Thank God. Finally." The manager's expression changed at once. "Ms. Ashford, we received your report." Marin stepped in. "I need to clarify." Celeste cut smoothly. "A passenger became confrontational, refused verification, and made me feel unsafe. I requested action and was delayed." "That's not what happened," Zaria said, heart hammering. The nearer officer fixed on her. "Ma'am, remain seated." "I am seated," Zaria answered. "I'm 16. The manager glanced at the tablet. "We have a safety concern associated with seat 2A. Daniel rose just enough to be seen. "I witnessed the entire incident," he said clearly. "If you're taking statements, take mine before you attempt to move anyone." Celeste turned, smile tight. "This doesn't concern you." "It concerns me when a minor is pressured into signing a false statement," Daniel said, "and when a VIP pressures crew documentation. And I request preservation of all records," he added. "Incident notes, crew device logs, internal messages, and any security communications initiated mid-flight." The officers exchanged a look. Their posture softened a fraction. Marin straightened, voice firm. "Her identity was verified. Her seat assignment is correct. No threats were made. The escalation came from coercion attempts and continued recording of a minor." Celeste's eyes narrowed. "Are you accusing me of intimidation?" "I'm describing what I observed," Marin replied. Celeste laughed softly. "Be careful, Marin. Don't ruin your career for someone who won't remember your name." Zaria's phone vibrated in her palm. Her mother was still on the line. She tapped speaker. A calm voice filled first class. "This is her mother. Who is the supervisor on scene?" The duty manager stiffened. "Kevin Lang." Kevin glanced back at the jet bridge as if searching for an exit ramp from responsibility. "We can step into the corridor and handle this discreetly," he offered, already shifting his body to create a path. Celeste nodded, eager for shadows. Daniel shook his head once. "Discreet is how the story changes," he said. "Take the statements here, where everyone heard what was said." Celeste answered a buzzing call without greeting. Voice clipped. "Yes, they're hesitating. I want the incident file opened now and every security note preserved." "Mr. Lang, confirm you were told she is a minor," the mother said, "and confirm whether her seat assignment is tied to a protected accommodation with your airline." Kevin hesitated, eyes flicking toward Marin. Celeste snapped, still smiling. "That's private." "It's relevant," the mother replied. Because you're responding to a false safety narrative. Ask your purser for the internal notes. Marin's throat tightened. There is a protected notation. Celeste's composure twitched. That's none of... Stop, the mother said. If you attempt to remove my child based on false statements, we will pursue civil remedies and request criminal review for false reporting and coercion. Legal accountability is not optional. The nearer officer cleared his throat. Ma'am, we just need to ask a few questions. Ask them here, the mother said, in front of witnesses, and instruct Ms. Ashford to stop recording my child. Celeste lifted her phone higher. I will not be silenced. Ms. Ashford, Marin said, voice turning into command, stop recording in the cabin and on the jet bridge. This is a crew directive for de-escalation. Celeste smiled. Make me? Elise Park stood near the galley, hands clasped too tight, eyes shining with fear. Daniel spoke to Kevin. For accuracy, she threatened an incident report to coerce a seat relocation and a signature. She continued recording a minor after being asked to stop. The seat was confirmed correct. A woman 2 rows back raised her hand, shaking. I recorded the beginning. I saved it. Another passenger nodded. I heard the threats about a report that would follow her. Kevin lifted both hands. All right, everyone slow down. He looked to Marin. Purser, were there safety threats? No, Marin said. There was pressure and attempted coercion, but no threat. The nearer officer shifted, less aggressive. Then we're not escorting anyone anywhere. Celeste's voice sharpened. So you're letting her walk? We're taking statements and referring this to corporate review, Kevin said. Celeste leaned closer to him, low and smooth. Corporate review is my neighborhood. Daniel's phone buzzed with counsel's text. Get badge numbers. Daniel looked up. Officers, may I have your names and badge numbers for my statement? They hesitated, then gave them. Daniel typed them in. Marin angled her body slightly in front of Zaria, shielding without touching. Stay seated until the aisle clears, she whispered. You're not going alone. Celeste stepped back, smile returning, small, certain. This isn't over, she said softly. Zaria believed her. But now there were timestamps, saved video, names and badge numbers, proof that wouldn't bend. The door stood open, jet bridge air pouring in like a verdict, but no one moved. First class hovered in that suspended moment where authority is supposed to speak, and instead hesitates. Zaria Wade stayed seated in 2A, carry-on strap looped around her ankle, phone in her hand, her mother's voice on speaker like a steady pulse. Supervisor on scene? Her mother asked. Kevin Lang lifted his tablet as if it could hide his uncertainty. Kevin Lang, duty manager. Mr. Lang, tell me exactly what you are alleging, the voice said, and confirm my daughter will not be isolated. Celeste Ashford smiled from 1D, polished and unbothered. I alleged what matters, she said. I felt unsafe. Marin Holt stepped forward, shoulders squared. Feeling unsafe is not evidence of a threat. No threat occurred. Identity and seat assignment were verified. Kevin tried to keep it neat. We're collecting statements in the terminal. Miss Wade, we need you to... Step off first. No, the mother replied instantly. No private corridor. She exits with the general flow with crew present and questions happen where witnesses can hear. Celeste's eyes flicked toward the phone, turning an airline into a courtroom. It becomes one when someone tries to turn a lie into a file, Daniel Mercer said from 1C, rising just enough to be seen. His phone stayed low, notes app open. If you take statements, take mine. I witnessed the recording, the coercion, and the attempt to force a signature. Celeste's smile tightened. This doesn't concern you. It does when a minor is pressured into misleading language, Daniel replied, and when influence shapes documentation. Kevin's tablet chimed. He read, then swallowed. Corporate security wants statements collected before passengers disperse. Celeste exhaled with satisfaction. Because the brand needs protection. Not at the expense of a child, the mother said. Marin nodded toward the open jet bridge. We can deplane normally, then collect statements at the gate area. Kevin hesitated. Celeste filled the gap, voice sweet, dangerous. Or you can do your job and remove the problem from the cabin. Zaria's chest tightened. You keep calling me a problem so it becomes true. Elise Park stepped forward with hands clasped too tight. Her voice shook, but it came out clear. I want to make a statement. I heard the threats about an incident report that would follow her. I saw the recording continue after she asked for it to stop. Celeste turned her head slowly. Do you want to be employed next month? Elise went pale. I want to tell the truth. Marin's tone sharpened. Any intimidation of crew will be documented. Zaria's mother stayed calm. Mr. Lang, instruct security to stand down unless there is a specific allegation of criminal conduct. One officer shifted, uncomfortable. We're support, not arrest. Then no one touches her phone or bag, the mother said. Kevin nodded too quickly. Understood. Celeste's phone rang. Direct line. She answered immediately, turning slightly away but not hiding the performance. Yes, I'm still on board. They're hesitating. I need this handled before I enter the terminal. A pause. If they won't act, donors will hear about the airline's negligence. When she ended the call, Daniel spoke again, careful and formal. Mr. Lang, I'm requesting written policy basis for any attempt to separate a minor or label her non-compliant. If you can't provide it, you shouldn't do it. Kevin opened his mouth, then closed it. Daniel's phone buzzed. Counsel. Preserve everything. He lifted his eyes. I can submit my statement to corporate and, if necessary, to the DOT complaint portal. I'd rather this airline file accurately first. Dot hit the air like a flare. Kevin stiffened. Even Celeste's smile faltered. Just a fraction. Federal threats now? Celeste said, tone smooth. This isn't a threat, Marin replied. It's compliance. Behind them, passengers murmured quietly. Saved video, saved notes, saved timestamps. Kevin raised both hands, finally choosing the option that didn't explode. All right, we deplane in order. Miss Wade exits with the purser and myself present. No one touches her property. Statements happen at the open gate area. Document that, the mother said, and instruct Ms. Ashford to stop recording passengers. Celeste lifted her phone with a small smile. I'm documenting for safety. You are instructed now, Marin said, crisp. Stop recording passengers. Celeste held it one beat longer, then lowered it, slowly, like a concession she planned to punish later. When the aisle cleared, Zaria unlooped the strap from her ankle and stood. Her legs felt numb, but her spine stayed straight. Kevin walked beside her. Marin walked behind, a quiet shield. Daniel followed 2 steps back, close enough to witness. At the gate area, a corporate security representative in a tailored suit arrived too quickly to be coincidence. He smiled like a brand poster. We appreciate everyone's cooperation. We'll take brief statements and resolve this efficiently. Before anyone answered, he produced a laminated incident statement template on a tablet. Checkboxes, drop-downs, tidy language that made messy truth look clean. We can expedite, he said. 1 signature each. Then everyone continues their day. And whose day gets protected by that language? Daniel asked. The representative ignored him and looked at Zaria. If you're cooperative, we can avoid further action. If you're not, the file may require additional review by corporate security. Celeste's voice floated in, quiet and pleased. That's what I said. Consequences. Marin leaned in too, Kevin. He's trying to recreate the same coercion in a brighter room. Kevin's throat bobbed. We just need closure. Truth is closure, the mother said. Not a checkbox. The representative's eyes flicked toward Celeste again, and that flick told the whole story. Then he turned back to Zaria. For the file, I need you to confirm one point, that you declined to complete verification in flight. Zaria felt the trap try to close again. She kept her voice steady. No, I completed verification. You're asking me to agree to a lie. Celeste leaned in, voice low and pleased. Say the words. Make it easy. Zaria didn't blink. Make it official. The representative's smile thinned as he looked at the cluster of passengers holding phones like sealed evidence. And through the terminal glass, a woman in a dark coat strode fast toward the gate, focused, furious, and unmistakably not here to negotiate. Celeste's gaze tracked the approaching figure, and for the first time her confidence shifted, just a hair, as if she recognized a kind of power that didn't ask permission. Zaria's mother's voice softened on the speaker. That's me, she said. I'm at the gate. Zaria's hands stopped shaking. Kevin looked toward the terminal doors like he wished he'd chosen neutrality earlier. Daniel saved his notes and hit share. Ready. The woman who reached the gate didn't arrive like a storm. She arrived like a measure. She moved through the cluster of passengers and airline staff with a steady pace, dark coat still on, eyes clear, phone already in her hand. Not filming for drama, but holding a screen the way someone holds a warrant. When she stepped beside Zaria, she didn't hug her first. She touched her shoulder, one grounding squeeze, then looked straight at Kevin Lang and the corporate security representative. Thank you for waiting, she said calmly. I'm her mother. We're going to do this correctly. Celeste Ashford's smile remained, but it no longer looked effortless. It looked maintained. So you're the one coaching this, she said. No, the mother replied. I'm the one documenting it. She turned her screen outward. A short email thread filled it. Corporate headers, legal addresses, an internal case reference. Your staff is attempting to recreate the same coercion in a brighter room, she said. The template you're asking my child to sign contains language that is untrue. If you want a statement, we'll give one. Accurate, witnessed, and preserved. The corporate representative began. Ma'am, for efficiency. For liability, she corrected. Efficiency is what people call it when they want the record to favor the powerful. Daniel stepped slightly forward, phone in hand. I can provide my witness timeline, he said. Timestamps, direct quotes, plus confirmation that the seat was verified. A passenger behind him added, I have video of the first confrontation. Kevin swallowed. We're just trying to close this incident. It doesn't close with paperwork, the mother said. It closes with truth. Celeste's voice cut in, smooth and cold. And what truth would you like? That your daughter marched into first class and refused to comply? The mother turned her head slowly toward Celeste. The truth is, you attempted to force a seat swap through intimidation, then tried to compel a minor into signing a false voluntary statement. The truth is, you used your status to trigger a security response. That's not safety, that's manipulation. Celeste's eyes narrowed. Careful. The mother didn't raise her voice. I am. She tapped her screen once. Your airline already has a settlement agreement on file related to protected seating and discriminatory handling of passengers. This is why your internal notes exist. And if this becomes a second documented pattern, especially involving a minor, your incident becomes evidence. Kevin's face drained. The corporate representative's smile finally slipped. Celeste recovered fast. So, you're here to threaten lawsuits? No, the mother said. I'm here to prevent your lie from becoming policy. She looked at Kevin. You have a choice. You can correct the record now, preserve all footage, and issue an executive apology to my child for the public humiliation. Or you can let this continue and watch what happens when legal and public accountability meet a story you helped manufacture. Celeste's composure cracked, just a flicker, then hardened into contempt. You think a viral clip can touch me? The mother's gaze stayed steady. I think you've built an empire that depends on reputation management, and empires collapse when people realize the image is the product. Kevin cleared his throat, voice small. Ma'am, what would resolution look like? The mother answered without cruelty. Brand accountability. A written correction that the seat was valid. A commitment that no minor is recorded and coerced into forms like this again. And an apology delivered to her face, not to your press team. Celeste's smile tightened, as if she tasted bitterness. This airline will never choose you over me. Kevin's eyes flicked to the circle of witnesses, phones, notes, saved video, then back to Celeste. For the first time, he didn't look at her like a donor. He looked at her like a risk. We will correct the record, he said, and we will escalate for review. Celeste stood still, blinking once. Not rage, calculation. She stepped back, still smiling, but the smile had changed. It was no longer power. It was preservation. Zaria finally let herself breathe. Her mother squeezed her shoulder again, a quiet promise that the humiliation would not be the last word. And, as they walked away, the recording dot on Celeste's phone went dark. Zaria's strength wasn't loud. It was disciplined. In a first-class cabin designed to reward status, she refused to trade her dignity for comfort. She didn't win by humiliating anyone back. She won by holding the line when the system tried to rewrite reality. That is real courage, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear sign your name to a lie. Celeste, the antagonist, represents a colder truth. Power often hides behind polished language. She didn't need to shout slurs to do harm. She used policy, safety, and order as masks for control. Her tactics were sophisticated because they were institutional. Weaponize forms, pressure staff, isolate the target, and turn feelings into files. That's how injustice becomes paperwork, and why so many people lose without anyone ever raising a fist. The message of this story is simple and urgent. Systems improve only when ordinary people refuse to participate in harm. The witness who saved notes, the passenger who preserved video, the crew member who spoke up. These were small actions that created a safer, healthier outcome. Imagine what changes when more of us choose truth over comfort, courage over silence, and fairness over status. A better world doesn't appear overnight. It is built moment by people who won't look away. And personally, this story reminds us of a daily life lesson. Dignity is not granted by a cabin class, a bank balance, or a title. It is protected by integrity, yours and the people willing to stand beside you. When you're pressured to make it easy by agreeing to something untrue, remember, peace that requires your silence isn't peace. It's surrender. If the story moved you, subscribe to Dignity Voices. Stay with us for the next chapter, because every week we tell stories where truth survives pressure and dignity gets the final word.